Let's see. Preparing. And here we are. We are live. Here we are on Extra Connections with James Lott Jr. on JLJ Media. Hi, I'm the JLJ of JLJ Media, of course. And we do this little live show once a week, twice a week, 3 times, whenever I feel like it, because it's my network. Yes, I own an online network because the networks that I was part of last year said goodbye. So I took up the slack and said, I'm going to do it myself. And I'm here. This is my long-running show that I've done for almost like 5 years now. I try to bring you guests that are doing things out there positively and are trying to make a difference in their careers and in the world. And this guest, I don't know him personally. We do follow each other. We have friends in common. We both are former AfterBuzzers, but I was there 10,000 years and I don't know anybody. But I liked him when I saw him on some interviews, and I said, let's bring him in and connect with him. He is an ASU alum, so he has a college education. We like that. He also, as a contributor of Fansided, we'll find out what that is. If you don't know what that is, folks out there. And like some of my other friends, he has a podcast with the Bleav Network. His is Bleav and NXT with Jacob D. Lawrence. And it's part of the wrestling sports thing. And which, folks, I know nothing about wrestling, but I know all these wrestling folks. They're all in my lives. I know we have the same people in common. But he's on that. And his IG is called Said is the Answer. Cedric Welton. Hi, Cedric.
Hey, how you doing, James?
So the obvious question, first question I have to ask for you is, that was just a two-parter. Are you the answer? And what is the question?
There's no question. I am the answer. Absolutely. The future, all that good stuff. No question. Or as a matter of fact, any question you have, I should be the answer for it. That's kind of how I see myself.
I like that. I like that. That's a good answer. I like that. That is the answer. I like that. So welcome to the show. And like I said, I'm going to do a little background. So like I said, we both were at AfterBuzz TV, which went on a long hiatus. And it's dead now.
Is it dead? Is it really dead? Oh, that face.
Have you read People Magazine?
Nah,
I'm shady.
I'm wildly optimistic, so I'm hopeful.
Okay, sure. Okay, so but we were both there doing content for them. I was there 7 years. How many years were you there?
Not even one. Not even one.
Okay.
I think I started December of 2019, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That was kind of quick. Yes.
Quick.
But how'd you find out AfterBuzz?
I have a friend who was doing some shows there. Her name is Shantiera Mapp. I reached out. We are both part of NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists. So we always network about different projects, stuff like that. I asked her what AfterBuzz was. She told me she would put in a word. I think you have to have an invite or whatever. So I did that and then got on board. Even had my sister join AfterBuzz as well.
Who's your sister?
My sister's name is Nigel Welton. So she was doing a couple shows there.
Who that?
I forget what shows she did, but she did, I want to say 2 or 3.
Okay. Wow, family affair. Did you go in doing wrestling stuff or sports stuff? Was that what you went into? Did you went into that?
No. So that was by like the grace of like Jack Farmer and Flobo Boyce, just seeing that I was a big wrestling guy and they put me on. I went in through The Walking Dead. So doing The Walking Dead after show, which I was told was like a good get because obviously it's a big popular show. So I was taking somebody's spot who didn't return and it was fun. Super fun.
Yeah. You watch Walking Dead still? Have you keep up?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I watched it yesterday. Absolutely.
I heard it's getting better. I heard it actually got better, right?
I feel like the season is kind of like a repeat of what's the new threat. I feel like it's always less and less about the zombies themselves. And it's like, okay, well, what's the new threat? And it's always something else that is another human group. So the past few seasons, I think people kind of got desensitized as like, all right, they're just going to encounter another bad group. And that's kind of like what they've continued to do. I think they're about to be on their last season, though.
I heard the last thing. I heard that. But I heard they have some spin-offs planned and things like that. So, I mean,
spin-offs, movie.
It's not going to die. It ain't going to die.
Nah. They're just going to re-franchise it somehow and just do it like that.
So you got onto a big show. That's kind of crazy. So then after that, then you morphed into the sports wrestling arena for AfterBuzz.
Yep.
You've always been a wrestling fan?
All my life.
Okay. And who did it come from? Anybody else? Friends, brother, father?
I would say my grandparents. So my grandparents were really big into wrestling. So I started watching it through them. Became a thing, became my thing. So I used to always get all the little action figures. I would always get all the pay-per-views. I got like a collection of VHS tapes where we just bootlegged and recorded all the stuff somewhere in storage. So yeah, I got all that stuff, man. It's like it's become a part of who I am. So like I've never been one of those people like, oh, I'm going to outgrow it because it's just fun. Like people should have more fun things that you just do that you like.
I like that. It's just funny. He just admitted they were bootleg stuff back then.
I did.
I did. Sorry. Oh, it's already happened already. Yes, I had a black box back in the day.
Oh, okay.
We didn't pay for cable. The little splicer and stuff outside. Maybe that's another story. Yes, we did think you do what you had to do sometimes to get products.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back then, I wasn't rich.
90s was a wild time.
Wild. The Wild West. The Wild West. No. Are you from California?
Yeah. I would say, yeah, I grew up in SoCal, from Carson, California, lived in Long Beach, but mainly I'm a South Bay kid.
South Bay. I live in Inglewood. I grew up in Inglewood. So.
Yeah, you know what it is. So yeah, every school I've went to outside of Arizona State was in Carson.
Oh, funny. Okay. So you are South Bay. I love down here, so I'm not going anywhere. It was rough back when I was growing up, but now I like it now. It's South Bay has changed a lot.
Mm-hmm. A lot more money in the South Bay now.
Yes, there is. Well, I think they're finally realizing that it's a great location. First of all, you're not far from the beaches.
Nope.
The airport's nearby if you have to fly out a lot or whatever. The weather's nicer down there. There's some space. So.
You're literally on the coastal line. It's like there's multiple options for beaches, like you said, the weather. And now you see more people moving down there. You see more buildings, like sports teams and different events play down there all the time now. They put more renovation into shopping down there. So yeah, I think people caught on maybe around, I want to say in the 2010s, the teens, they caught on around there, start putting more investment down to the South Bay.
Yeah, I'll tell you, folks. There's a giant IKEA in Carson, and whenever I go there, I never get out. I mean, it's like it's set up for me to stay there for the rest of my life. So I eat hot dogs and pizza or whatever there, and I just like walk around and buy candles that I don't really need. So that's
nobody knows he's talking about the Carson Mall. I grew up in that mall. It's not more of a mall. It's more like a hallway of shops, and they have a movie theater now. But you got all your goods there. They have a JCPenney's. Used to have a Sears. But yeah, huge IKEA on the outside.
The outside, no, huge. Poor Sears, yes, JCPenney. Because I live where we don't have any malls where I'm at. Well, we have Fox Hills. Like I know it's called Westfield, Culver City, but I still call it Fox Hills. It's just
I think a lot of people do. A lot of people still do. Nobody stopped calling it the Fox Hills Mall.
Fox Hills Mall. It's like right there. So I go to that one. Everyone. Well, I've been to some malls since the pandemic, but before that, I used to go there all the time.
That was kind of my thing growing up.
So you grew up in SoCal. Going to malls. So I'm a little older than you are. So in the late 80s, that's where I could get my gold chains by the inch. We go to Fox Hills Mall, and you say, I want 7 inches of that. And then they get the little gold chains. That's what we used to do.
Mm-hmm. That was my generation too. We did that too. We did the gold chains, the dog tags, I mean, my era was more let's go to the mall and grab a white tee or something like that. So that was a little bit of my generation, kind of in that span. But like, yeah, stuff in Southern California culture just gets passed down. I feel like everybody kind of just recycles things.
That's very true. That's very true. How would you describe your host persona?
Ooh, I don't think I've ever been asked that. And I think I'm still defining it and growing it. I think if somebody were to tell me what it is, I have a lot of opinions. And that when I'm really passionate or something, I have great conviction when I talk about it. So I would say you might hear a rant or two. But if I'm talking about something, I'm gonna be passionate about it. Are you the type person that only speaks on what you know? Like if you know something, like that's when you let loose. You don't just just blindly. Yeah, like if I know something or like I have a strong opinion about it, I'll go in. If somebody asks me for my opinion, I would want to say that I'm wise enough to say like I'm not educated enough to give you an opinion, but I might give you like a surface level opinion of what I've heard or think about it. But yeah, I'd rather be more educated on a topic to really discuss it.
Also, because you're a journalist and you do stuff like that, but going to the hosting space is a little different. I came from radio, and so radio hosting is very different than actually
Which
on
station?
air. Well, I didn't do stations. I was internet radio.
Okay.
I had a show on internet radio. So I did every Friday morning. I did a thing called the Super Organizer Show, which is I still have it 6 years later. And I would come on and we'd go to a radio station in Whittier. Actually, it was in Whittier.
Okay.
I broadcast live every Friday morning, and I went to all the internet stations and everywhere across the country. And it was great. I loved it. I did some interning with Kiss FM back in the day, a little bit. I was kind of dabbling a little bit, but they was like, go get a job, James. So I had to go get a job.
More people should get their start in radio, because I did too. In Phoenix, when I was in college, I started at a top 40 station, we had a top 40, a country, and an oldie station in one building for CBS radio. So I started in promotions, got my work up, and did some after club night radio, some part-time radio. So it's fun. I think you get a lot out of that industry.
I love radio. No, I do. And then one of my best friends, Cameron Lewis, and I, he's with 97.1, and he's a producer with them. The Woody Show, which is one of the biggest shows in the country.
Mm-hmm.
He's with them. And we bonded years ago at AfterBuzz because we both love radio. We both came from that. I had this voice when I was born, basically. So they're like, you're going to go to radio. And my whole life I heard that. And it was like, back in the day, it wasn't easy. It's still not that easy, but like it wasn't easy back then. I admired like a Rick Dees or a Casey Kasem or Shadow Stevens or Wolfman Jack. I mean, those are all those voices, Dick Clark and all them. I always, admired them. And then when I got a chance to get my own radio show, it was like 7 years ago. I was like, that's my dream. I never even thought about TV. I never even thought about on camera. It was just like, I love the whole, because you know this, with radio, there are no visual props that you can rely on. It's literally sound. And it's all about the sound. And there's things you have to do that are very specific to radio. Station identifications, how many hours, every hour you got to do it every hour. Queuing things up, the breaks, watching it. It's just it's so much different than on camera work that I love. So I'm sure you agree with that.
There's a lot that goes behind the scenes that I'm sure a lot of people don't know about. A lot of moving parts in radio. Even when you talk about the ad space of radio and making sure you play these commercials and things like that, and making sure they have the right spots. So there's a lot that goes on. It's a great industry.
It is. I totally agree with that. And folks, radio's not going nowhere.
No.
Everybody's like, it's going to die. That's not just because there's podcasts. People still are in cars and they listen to radio and like things like, seriously, it's still a viable thing. And I love it. But I did get to television. That's why I asked you about the hosting thing, because I had to figure out what I was going to be host-wise too, because now my kid can see me. I was trying to figure out what exactly it is I'm going to do. Because on radio, no one knows I'm black or whatever. They don't care. My voice is just deep. They just hear that. My name is very vanilla. James Lott Jr. can be anything.
Nah, James is a strong name. It's not vanilla at all.
No, it's okay. Yes, I like my name. I live with it and I like it and I use it. But I just know that it's not like, I'm not like Shakira something or whatever, or a Feek whatever. No, I don't have any of those kind of names. My name is completely like, because I used to go to meetings and they go, so we look at James Lott Jr. You're next. James Lott, you're next. I'm right here. We're looking for James Lott Jr. No, I'm right here. They're like, oh, that look. Oh, okay. Well, come on in, Mr. Lott. I'm like,
subtle surprise.
So what they're saying, folks out there, you know what I'm doing. Oh, you're black. Okay, come on. We didn't expect to come on in. That many times. So I was saying, I like my name and I have it, but I'm just saying that it's not anything that stands out. But I like that about radio. It's just completely, I just do be whoever I want to be. TV, it's like, okay, am I too fat? Am I too skinny? How's my hair? All this stuff. It's not just for women, folks, men too. When we're on TV, people, oh my God, Cedric. I don't know.
It's kind of why I'm wearing a hat right now.
He's wearing a cap. See, talk about he's wearing a cap. What's underneath that hair? What's underneath that cap?
A bunch of hair. A bunch of hair that with nothing to do to it.
See? So it's not just chicks. Dudes go through it too. When we're on camera, we have to look presentable, because I don't know about you. Have you ever read the comments, Cedric, or do you just say no thank you?
I find great pleasure in the comment section, like even on like videos or especially when I write. I like reading the comment section because not to argue with anybody, just to see what people kind of think of you. I don't take it to heart because I remember I've read comment section on AfterBuzz and they're like, "Oh yeah, he got it wrong about this stuff." Like I'm like, "All right, you're entitled to your opinion. You know, thank you for tuning in."
Well, it was funny because I when it first happened to me, I was like, oh my god, my life's over. I totally like was like this. But see, here's the false thing. So what happens is when I first got there, it was like, we love James Lott Jr. Who is he? Oh my, he's so great. Then they got used to me. They're like, yeah, and your teeth are all messed up, and look at that hair. What is it? What hairstyle is that? And I'm like, oh, that's what they can do on there too. And I like you had to learn. Yeah, you know, it's whatever. It's part of the business.
I realize people in the industry of media, because I was a sports anchor, sports reporter for a station down in Torrance. I feel like in any industry, like people gonna love you or hate you for the same stuff. So you just got to stay the course, and you'll get to where you need to go.
But how confident are you as a person? Do you have to be really confident in who you are to be able to go through that? Because I'm pretty confident in who I am. I mean, my looks are whatever they are. I mean, yeah, my weight goes up and down. I get all that. The gap in my teeth is not leaving, folks. Mind the gap, not leaving. But you know what I mean? Like they pick on things sometimes. You know, or you're so black, or you're so that. Like they pick on you. Like, how strong do you have to be a person to go whatever?
You gotta be a little bit secure in yourself. Maybe not confidence in certain things about your personality, but be more confident in your abilities, like why you're doing the job, why you have the experience, why they chose you, because you can do the job. That's where the confidence comes from. It's like they could have asked anybody else to be right here doing this, but they chose me. So whether you like it or not, you're going to see me. And that's just being confident in the abilities that you possess.
Have you led hosts when you were at AfterBuzz, or were you a co-host?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Have you when you were at AfterBuzz? Did you lead host any shows?
No, I didn't get a chance. I had the 3 shows that I was doing routine, but I was always co-host. So then bottom came under. Bottom fell through. So maybe I could have got there.
I want to ask you because you have your own shows now, but you do yourself. Well, what do you think makes a good co-host?
Active listening. So as a good co-host, you want to hear what your counterpart is saying, let them get their full thoughts out, and then expound upon what they're saying, and make it engaging. I feel like that would be a good co-host. Actually having chemistry with co-host is good. I know there were some complaints of a lot of shows of just people who would just come and do that, and they didn't really hang out with each other afterwards. Like, fortunate enough for me, like the people I was co-host with, I became friends with. We would be in group chats and stuff like that. So follow each other on Twitter and social media. So I think that's important too, to kind of know who the person is away from the microphone.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that. I've led and co-hosted, and I agree with that completely. I think you have to make sure you are having a conversation and not saying the exact same thing the next person, because you said you could be not listening, and all of a sudden you say the same thing they just said. And fans will catch you on that too. Like, you basically just say everything this person's saying. Like, you make sure you say something that adds to the conversation.
Right.
Oh my goodness, folks. The guy that is responsible for me being an AfterBuzz is in the chat room, Tony Moore. I don't know if you know Tony Moore. He was somebody who did a lot of shows, created a lot of stuff. He is in there. He claims he's the definition of a great host and co-host. He claims that. So Tony, I'll let you have that tonight. It's okay. Just kidding. Tony is. I'll tell you he's good. He's the one who got me into this business. So Cedric was at AfterBuzz too. We're all there. We're everywhere. We're sprinkled everywhere. Like, it's kind of funny.
A little bit everywhere. Yeah.
A little bit everywhere. Everywhere. So you did Walking Dead. You did the wrestling. Now, you know, wrestling, the shows that at AfterBuzz they had their own kind of group. I did the soaps. Me and Tony, we were the soap group. There was like these 2 kind of camps that we always talk about the wrestling. I know all the wrestling guys. You just mentioned Jack Farmer and Flow Boys, and I know Steve Kaufman and George Chamosa. I mean, I know everybody. I know everybody. So which shows did you do at the wrestling? Did you do NXT, WWE? Which ones did you do?
I don't think I ever did NXT. I did the Raw after show. I did the AEW Dynamite after show routinely with Jack Farmer. And then towards the tail end, they started doing more writing. I wrote. So it was those 3, I would say. I was on routinely. The Walking Dead, those 2 for wrestling. And then I would tell them like, hey, if you guys want to talk more sports, I write boxing, write MMA, so I can always do that. I think so. What got me was once AfterBuzz was kind of dwindling and got, I would say, virtual. And once you couldn't go to the studio no more, I forget the gentleman's name, but he actually has. I got reached out to randomly by Ryan. Ryan is dope, and he's like, "Do you know Marvel?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know Marvel." It's like, "Do you want to be on like Marvel Coffee News, something like that, the Marvel show?" And I was so lost. I felt so terrible. I felt terrible. Oh my God. Like they knew about all the scoops and the dirt sheets, and I was just trying to follow on. Like I've never heard about that show. Like I watch the movies. I watch it when it comes out, but I don't know anything. I tried to follow along the best I could.
No, I agree with that. There's some people say, James, you should do this. I'm like, no, I don't know that much. Like I'm proficient in some stuff, but I know my lane.
Mhm.
I know my lane. There's some things I watch recreationally, and some things I actually watch. I'm a Star Wars guy. Me and Ryan do Star Wars stuff together. So I'm a huge stuff, but I've been watching Star Wars since it came out as I was a kid. So I'm like, I know Star Wars.
So maybe you can sell me then.
Okay.
I bought Disney Plus a month ago. My uncle was a big Star Wars guy growing up, and I never really got into it. Is The Mandalorian worth the investment? I know it's already in 2 seasons in.
Yes.
Is it worth binging?
Yes. Well, okay. I say yes because for me, my Amazon fresh order is going through. Sorry, buddy. I saw a little. Like, oh my God, my ice cream. Okay. Are you a Star Wars fan in general? Or you watch the movies?
I've watched some movies, but I don't know like the genesis, the history, the story leading up to it. That's what I'm trying to figure out is, do I need to know all of that before watching The Mandalorian? Or do I have to have that to be in the loop?
I'm just trying to gauge. Okay, so no, you don't have to know all that actually. There are some Easter eggs thrown in here and there, but I think it wouldn't kill you. It's a great solid series. It wasn't what I expected. The first season, I was totally not what I expected. I think I was thinking something else. But it's the first 2 seasons literally are one huge storyline.
Okay.
And I think for a person who's not a huge Star Wars fan, it's a great drama. You're fully immersed in a Star Wars universe. I mean, it's like when you went to the sets, everything's beautiful. The way he did it's really, they did a great job. I like the story, but again, I think the story is solid. There's some solid characters. I think season 2 is even better. They did some really great stuff, and the finale season 2 was the best. I mean, but then again, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. But I think I like Star Wars because the stories are about heart and home, good versus evil.
Okay.
I mean, Giancarlo Esposito, I love him anyway from everything he does. I mean, I can name like Breaking Bad. I can name all things he does.
Mm-hmm.
He's so good as Moff Gideon in this series. He's so good in the series. He's so deliciously bad good in the series. You see my Grogu's behind me. They're my babies. I think the series itself, it's a great. They range in time periods, so it's like some of them are 30 minutes long, some are 40, a few are 20. Like they range in time.
Interesting.
It's very interesting because some are like one was like 52 minutes, like it's almost like full hour, and others were like 35 minutes done. So it's they don't they do their own thing. But I feel like it's a full-on universe. You don't have to know all Star Wars. If you do know Star Wars, I think you appreciate it even more. But I have friends who don't watch all Star Wars and they love it. I mean, I think it's worth check out the first season at least. Check out the first season, see what you think. I don't know. I like it. I'm a big fan. And now they got 20 series coming out that are Star Wars related. I'm having multiple Star Wars gasms because I'm just like, oh my God, all this stuff coming out. And so Ryan, we're doing every after show for everything. So I mean, I don't know. I just Ryan and we do the Mandalorian after show. We have so much fun because it's just they just throw stuff in. There's action, there's suspense. You don't have to wait long for stuff. They don't drag things out. It's just a boom, boom, boom. And it's 10 episodes. I think 10 episodes. I mean that's it. I mean it's just done. So I don't know. I don't know if I sold you on it, but I like it. I think it's.
I'll give it a try.
Give it a try. I gotta watch WandaVision. That's what I gotta watch. Speaking of the other side of Marvel, I heard it's really good. So I gotta watch that.
That is worth it. If you were really into like the old, like cheesy sitcom shows, like I Love Lucy, I Dream of Jeannie, like that's how it starts. But then it has like this dark twist, and then you finally start figuring out what's going on. And there's subtle throwbacks to like the Avengers movies. So I know the last episode was like they were really big into like, oh, that's what it meant in Age of Ultron now, and like all these teasers. It's great. That's and they're quick episodes. They're quick watches. It's almost a tease. It's like, I don't know if you watch Insecure, but
I do like you. I love Insecure.
Okay, so you have the 30-minute episodes, and you're like, oh, that's it. I gotta wait till next week. It's like that.
They film my neighborhood sometimes. I love. She actually uses South LA and Inglewood in her stuff. She really does.
Yeah, I love it. Beautiful imagery of Southern California in that show.
I agree. No, you know what? I do agree. And I do audio dramas, and I have 2 that are coming out that are set in Inglewood. And even though it's audio, I describe certain areas that are very Inglewood. And I was inspired by her saying, I want to do some shows that are set in the areas that are here that people know about. I mean, they're not represented. It's always downtown LA or East LA. Or I want over here. We got some over here on the side of town. Over here, Westchester and Ladera Heights.
Exactly.
And all that.
They really feature, like, for me, like what California really feels like.
I agree. I totally agree with that. Let me ask you, because this is my show, I'm gonna fly over to the other side of things.
Okay.
In your opinion, I've asked this of many of the guests on my show. What does being Black mean to you these days?
That is a deep question.
I know.
That's deep. And I'm optimistic, so I try not to be a downer. I think there's a lot. It means strong. It means empowerment. I think there was always a movement going on, But I think seeing people of color in more positions like this, doing television shows, in media, in writing, I think, and even being a part of NABJ, it's so empowering because you can grow up. And I went to Arizona State, which is predominantly white. So Arizona people, like maybe I think I was like the only Black male in my dorm for journalism growing up. So, or in freshman year. So seeing that, it's like, then you go to NABJ and it's like Wakanda. It's like everybody in media and then everybody's trying to put you on. So I think that movement, I've been seeing that for like the past 3-4 years in the media space. But even before that, I think you're starting to see more people that are creative, that are doing things, even with TikTok, even with reels and videos. You're seeing that this culture can do anything. And it's just been maybe buried for so long. But now you're starting to see people like, I forget the girl who did the Renegade dance, whatever. It's like, you got to pay us for our content now because we're going to be able to follow up with you. You got to give up the coin if you're going to jock the style. And I think that's what's beautiful about it, is that you're seeing more of that.
That's the wearing a Prince shirt. Love my friends. Speaking of Black excellence, there. I want us to go back for a second. What is it? Because I've been in this space a couple times in corporate America, but I never, not in school. I went to a school that was very integrated. So I want to know, what is it like being the only Black male in an all-white dorm? Like, what does that even feel like? I don't even know what that feel like.
Oh man, that's a funny question.
You're a Black man. You're not like kind of Black or sort of Black. You are a beautiful Black man, of course, a Black man. So I'm like, what is that? Yeah, what does that feel like?
It's interesting. I don't. The funny thing about ASU was like all the Black people that went to that school, we met each other on the first day. Like at orientation. Funny. So like everybody just hey, like exchange numbers. Let's exchange numbers. So all my friends I met in 2005 are still my friends till to this day. So, but being the only Black person in the dorm, interaction, it was fun. I mean, it was fun. It was different. You got to learn different people, but like I feel like so many people wanted to connect with me just because maybe they didn't grow up with Black friends or Black people in the neighborhood. So it's like everybody wanted to talk to me, and I'm like, I don't got nothing for you. I'm just chilling. I'm going to class. I'm playing my video games, But it was like being out there the first month or two, like absolute culture shock. absolute, like,
Yeah, come from Carson and everything, and Long Beach, all that. I'm sure. Yeah.
yeah, absolute culture shock. But I was like, everybody was nice. So it was like everybody was interested in getting to know you, and it wasn't like any drama or nothing like that.
That's
There's
good.
only a couple. I only had a couple of bad C's. I had to like let
Take care
people
of that.
know, like, yeah, like. But everybody else was dope.
How'd you survive the summers?
First few years, I didn't. The first few years, I didn't stay in Arizona for the summer. So
You're like, bye.
I don't know. I felt that orientation heat when we went out there in August,
Woo!
and my dumb ass was in like the baggy jeans and the full
Oh,
on button up.
oh,
Dumb.
oh.
So like I avoided the summers a few years, but like by I would say my junior year, I would live out there and work year round. So you don't really feel it if you move in somewhere. Like if you move in somewhere, it don't bother you. If you in the building all day, it don't bother you, but you don't just want to be outside.
Okay. Okay. Yes, that's very true, Cedric. If you're inside somewhere with air conditioning, yes. But I'm talking about having to live out and you have to still get to a car. You still got to get to a store. Like it's all this. It's crazy talk. I lived in heat like that. It was crazy.
Oh, I was on the bus in college, so I know. It feels like
Wait a minute.
like you have a
Wait a minute. You had to wait for a bus in that heat?
Yeah, I was on a bus in college, so I was on a bus in light road, so I know what it feels like. It feels like you have it feels like you have a hairdryer on you at all times.
Yes, at all times. A wall of heat just hits you.
It doesn't feel, it's not windy or anything like that. It just feels like just warmth around you the whole time. So you dress the part and you get to your destination. That's what you do. You move, you get to your destination.
I'll give you points, Cedric, because I was like, you use a car. I'm like, that's just I just for me, I didn't like it. I'm like this. They would tell me, well, after like 95 degrees, it's all the same. No. In Arizona and places in the Southwest, it gets to 120. There's a difference.
Them 110s hit different when it's like a summer afternoon and you got to walk somewhere. You're like, oh, why? but the flip side of that is it's so cheap. Everything is so cheap. So you like, I'll deal with this for like, what, 4 months out the year?
Yes, that's true. I think it's true. So after college, you decided to come back to California. You decided not to stay in Arizona.
I was stuck. I was stuck for a while.
Oh, really? Okay.
I lived in Arizona for 10 years exactly, from 2005 to like the summer of 2014. So yeah, I was out there. So I wouldn't say complacent, but it's like I had opportunities out there, radio. Obviously was working, had a career, started working I do sales as well. So I was working at Yelp when it was like still hot. So like right in the epicenter of like when it was growing before it hit IPO and all that. So it's like I was successful. So I lived out there longer, and then just opportunity brought me back to Arizona. And I was like, oh, it was like right when my sister was starting college. I was like, yeah, it's perfect time.
Yeah. Were you in journalism in high school?
No, I wasn't in journalism in high school. High school is weird. And I think that's what we're learning now in this new environment of a virtual world, is that like public school really ain't shit. It is. It don't teach you nothing, man, unless you really like under one of these teachers that are going to carry you the way. Like, and I didn't do this to my senior year of high school. There was a lady, I'll never forget her. Her name was Miss Coletti. I would be with her every day about SATs, applying to colleges, what I need to do, how do I get financial aid? And she helped me understand it. And that's when I kind of realized, like, all right, what do you want to do with your life? And I was like, well, I like to write. I'm that weirdo whose favorite class, K through 12, was English. So
I was the same way. The same way. Yeah.
Like I liked writing book reports and projects. I put a lot of effort into them. So I realized, like, well, how can we translate? It's like, oh, you should do journalism. Like, oh, bet. And then Arizona State was like, oh, Black kid that wants to journalist. Join this first 30 students of this new journalism program called Cronkite Village. And I was in the very first one before it launched. So, yeah.
How is it for Black journalists out there? I have friends who are Black critics. It's hard. They say it's hard anyway, but it's hard even for them. Like our buddy Carla Renata, who's from another X After Buzzer, she's really big in the critic stuff. I always wonder about Black journalists. What is that space like?
I feel like it's challenging, but there's a body of people who have your back. And I think that's the most important thing. They want to have more people of color in these newsrooms. And I feel like if you're a Black journalist who wants to get out there and be in media, be on news, do column writing, stuff like that, you really just gotta shoot your shot. And I think that's a hard lesson I'm having to learn. Is like, you just gotta shoot, and it will stick somewhere. There's a place for you somewhere. There absolutely is. Because for me, for the longest time for me was like, I finally got back to California. I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave California. It took me so long to get here.
Yes.
It took me so long to get back here. Not going. So, and I've built good opportunities with the writing, the reporting. Even I work at the NFL seasonally, so I have that stuff. But if you like really want to get to the next level, you have to go to a different market. You have to do certain things and just apply yourself. So you just got to keep shooting, and somebody will put you on board, and it won't last forever. There's always an ascension to get back to the number 1, number 2, number 3 market, and you just gotta bite that bullet. It's worth it in the long run.
What's it like being an anchor, a sports anchor? Like, what's that like? I know
It's fun.
It's fun.
That is one of the funnest times I've had. I actually miss them damn kids so much. It's so fun, man. They hit me up on IG sometime like, oh, we miss you at the station, because we were so interactive with the high schools. But like, just going to a game, any sporting events, not just like the big 3 like baseball, football, basketball, but like going to volleyball matches, going to track meets, going to water polo, swim meets. I never knew swim meets were so lit until I actually went to one. Those kids bust their ass in them relays. That stuff is fun. And then the excitement they get just from interviewing them and knowing that they're going to be on TV, and they tell their parents, I love that. If I can go back and do high school sports again, I think I would love that. That's a good lane, because those kids are hungry, they're appreciative, and like just being able to give somebody a spotlight to say like, hey, you're good at this sport. I'm going to give you a platform. Use this as your highlight reel, your tape to go to whatever college and let people know that's what you want to do. Let people know your personality.
Yeah, that's fine. My daughter played water polo in high school, and her arms were buff. I was like, she could beat me up. I was like, girl, I'm not scared of you. Water polo ain't easy, folks. Because you're not only treading water, you're also trying to hit balls and stuff.
It's
not easy. And they're in 6 foot, 8 foot water. It's not like they're sitting in a 3 foot wading pool. They're in the water. But her upper body was like just like bam. I was like, girl, and she's like 15. Like, you're gonna try to beat me up. So I tell you, take out the trash. Terry Govea, who is also a former AfterBuzzer, now stuff with JLJ Media, wanted to find out what's Cedric's writing style.
Okay.
We're asking you all kind of questions, Cedric, tonight.
I know. That's a good one too, because I'm very hard on myself. I feel like everybody got better styles than me. So I try to like switch it up sometimes, but I feel like I can be opinionated, but I get straight to the point. I feel like I'm very concise with my thoughts and my opinions, and I will give you facts and data behind it. I will always do my research to tie it back to what I'm talking about. I don't know if that answers your question, but if you want to read my stuff, if you want to read any of my stuff, tell me if I'm good, tell me if I'm suck, or tell me if I suck. That's fine. I write for Fansided.com, which is a fan network of sites, and I do boxing, UFC, MMA, and WWE. Right now, I write for Daily DDT. I actually dropped 2 articles last week. Let me know what you think.
I went on there, and you could go. His link tree is on his Set is the Answer, folks. It's on there.
Thank you. That link tree is very convoluted, so I apologize.
But it got me where I need to go. I was like, there are things I need to go to, so I was like, go. So tell me if you have any other questions, take us. Tammy's interviewer, I'll host also. If you have any questions, more from, just tell me if that was what I'm gaining from you is that you are concise in your writing. You're concise. You get to the point. You don't use lots of verbiage to get there. You just kind of, like some people, like, I always think of like a Stephen King. He's very descriptive in his writing. Everything is it's like 10 pages of the room, and then the action happens. You're like, I'm to the point. Here we go. Here's my opinion. Here's what I saw. Boom. Right.
Yeah, I want to be more descriptive and metaphoric and stuff like that, but sometimes I'm just not cool. Sometimes I'm not cool enough to be like, let me tie in this like hip hop metaphor here and make it sound dope. I can't do that all the time. It doesn't come to me in my writing. I do a lot of my writing overnight too. So like,
oh, right. Wait a minute. So we're good. Okay, let's do it. Let's do something I like to do on the show sometimes. Sometime day in the life of Cedric Welton. So take me through, when do you wake in the morning to when do you go to bed maybe on a certain night, a certain day. So okay. When do you wake up?
Depending on the day, I would say around like 7:30, between 7:30 and 8:30. I have my morning meeting at work. I work in sales full time. So I do sales throughout the day. I'll try to end my day, let's say 3, 4ish. I have a meeting at 5, but usually by between 3 and 5, I'm working out. I train with some guys in Corona. So I work out at the gym out there and train with them before my calls. I come home, then I start my other projects. So whether I have something to write, whether I'm podcasting, that's always if I'm not cheating in the middle of a day to do a podcast, because sometimes that happens because my co-host is on the East Coast. I'm writing and podcasting, so let's say after 6. So I'm doing that. As far as going to bed, that's a case by case, because this body don't like to go to sleep. So I can be up on average to, I'd say, let's say 2 a.m.
Okay.
2 a.m. sometimes later. And that's just because like my days are so busy. It's like, all right, what did I miss? And
I understand that.
Exactly. So like I like to catch up on my sports reads, whatever is on TV sports wise or live television. I'm a big wrestling fan, so I'll probably watch tonight's wrestling after this. So that keeps me up for a while, but then it's like, all right, what can I do to be productive? What can I write? What can I brainstorm? So I'm a night owl. So like, that's when I get my best work done. So that's why I sleep so late, and then rinse, wash, and repeat the next day.
But no, it's funny. So I like sleep, folks. I love me some sleep. I take some naps during the day if I have to. They told me I'll live longer if I do that. Naps are great. Aren't they great?
Yeah. It don't have to be long. You need a little 10, 15 minutes ones, recharge, back in the saddle. There you go.
So recently, because I started adding some things onto my plate, I found that the hours between 11 p.m. and like 3 a.m., I get a lot done because it's quiet.
Prime time.
Nothing going on outside. No one's sending you emails. No one's calling you.
Right.
It's like for me, and I'm not even a night person anymore. I used to be a night person. I'm not even. But recently, last few months, I've done more late nights than I normally have. I'm usually an early bird, but it is quiet. I can get to my list. I have a list. I go, okay, knock that out, knock that out, knock that out. You know, just get it done. And I'm like, okay, I said, do some random writing I need to do. This song I'm trying to work on. Answer those 5 emails. Like I can get it done. And I feel very productive. It's like, oh, okay, I'm done. And then usually all of a sudden I'm like, I'm tired now. And that's it.
Yeah.
But I have found that prime time, like 11 to 3 in the morning. It's like, okay. Usually I have some music on, maybe something in the background, you know, some TV in the background, some late night TV.
Those college club nights prepared me for that time frame. Because I'm gonna be up regardless. I might as well do something to better myself.
Yeah. So like I said, I have some friends who are on Bleav. My one friend, Lucretia Lyon, another ex-After brother, as I may never say where, just Bleav in soap operas. Okay. You do Bleav in NXT. So you actually are doing NXT now, but you're doing it not through AfterBuzz on your own through Bleav.
Right.
How did you get involved with Bleav? And Bleav, I'm sorry, folks, is spelled BLEAV. How did you get involved with that?
So I had a recruiter reach out to me because I think he saw my writing. So we connected on LinkedIn. He unfortunately is not there anymore. His name was Carlton Gillespie, I Bleav. And he's like, hey, like we have options. And I applied for the gig. And he's like, all right, would you want to do a podcast? I was like, absolutely. I've always wanted to do a podcast. So the opportunity just presented itself. And I was like, he's like, we'll come up with some ideas. I was like, well, do you guys have a wrestling podcast? And he said, we don't. They didn't have any wrestling podcasts. And this was back in December of 2019. So we did that. And so we networked and I was like, hey, let's do a centric wrestling podcast. Not so much all over the place, but let's just focus on this one show. And they were all for it. They linked me up with Jacob and Lawrence, who happened to be a wrestling fan as well. And we jumped on the thing and we've never met in person, but Jacob is dope. Jacob has become one of my good close friends. And like, we just naturally click. We have the same personality, same taste in certain things. So we were doing like, oh man, pandemic time, like peak pandemic when everything really was shut down. We were doing maybe like 2-3 episodes a week, finding our own co-hosts and guests for the show. And now we're we want to take the podcast to new heights. So we're going to branch out of Bleav and do something else just to grow it more, just because there's so much that can be done in the world of wrestling and so many fans that you can reach for that type of stuff. And going back to the Black experience again, there's a lot of Black creators out there doing podcasts, and I love to see it on Twitter. There's a lot, and especially in the wrestling space.
There is. Tammy Gouveia says, I feel like wrestling and the fan base has just blown over the last couple of years. What is it about that world that is so huge?
I don't know if I can do it justice, but you just got to experience it to understand what wrestling is like. And I've done this with my friends too. It's like you go to a live event and there's nothing like it. It's good, wholesome, safe, fun. You can do anything else, but you'll see some stunts and some stuff, and you'll just be amazed by the athleticism and like how cool everything is. And I feel like that space has always been big. It's gotten international, I'd say, the past decade plus. But like, I mean, there's a lot more media. There's way more ways to digest wrestling with social media now. So I think fans have more outlets to voice their fandom, which I think that's why you see it more now.
You know, it's funny. Okay, here's my whole thing. So I wore a Wrestling Mania shirt that I went to back in 1989, and it's actually worth. Apparently, it's worth something. I actually went to Trump Tower. back when he was okay. No, but wrestling for me in the late 80s, of course, it had a resurgence. Cyndi Lauper came out, and the Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper and all that was big for a minute. And we all kind of got into it, almost half jokingly got into it. And then the 90s, I did a little some Steve Austin. I was on the Steve Austin, John 316, all that whole thing. Mm-hmm. And then Rock, of course, all that and all them. I mean, I remember Friday night was like a big deal. I watched Friday night. It was crazy. Everybody was watching it. And then I kind of stopped. But I'm learning that wrestling, much like comic books, is a very adult thing. There are a lot of adults, grown men and women, who read comics and also watch wrestling. Like, it's not just this thing; it's just for kids. You think, as soon as you think, well, just outgrow it. You outgrow it. You like it for now, but you outgrow it. Like, no, it's like any other entertainment medium.
Exactly.
Am I right about that?
You're absolutely right. And then there's always your critics who say, well, I outgrew it. Why didn't you? Stuff like that. It's like, yeah, well, you still watch Marvel. You enjoy movies. They're not real. Like, people act out different storylines. And that's really what wrestling is. It's a continuous storyline. I like to think of it like it's a sports soap.
Football Boys, our buddy, hates when people say that. He's like, I see why they say that, but I don't. Yeah, I'm like, also, I feel like it is a soap opera for wrestling. It's kind of a similar. It's multiple storylines that go on through long time periods. There's cliffhangers. I mean, it's all kinds of things. Comebacks. That's what soaps do too. Do the same thing.
Exactly. I don't have a problem with that term. I grew up with a grandma that watched her soap, so it don't bother me.
You watched her stories. That's right. You gotta watch her stories. Mm-hmm. She probably watched Young and the Restless. All black folks do. They watch Young and the Restless growing up. But no. That's. I mean, I one day I'm gonna watch something because I haven't seen it. I really haven't seen a match in years. Like, I have not watched a show in years. And a lot of the mutual fans I have, a lot of you guys who do hosting, like, James, you should go on a wrestling show. And I'm like, maybe one day I'll do that. Maybe I'll watch it and give people my take as a novice who's not really.
What you got to do is you got to experience you got to go to a big show, like how the shows are big now. And I'm talking about like 100,000 fans in the stadium. And in 2023, I think that's when WrestleMania comes to LA at the new Ram Stadium. That's going to be huge.
Okay.
That's going to be huge. They're going to pack that thing out. They're going to get a bunch of celebrities for it. It's going to be an amazing show. And just seeing like the body. And the cool thing about wrestling is the wrestling body travels. You get people that come from out of this country, from every other state, to travel to these one locations to see the show. So it's like, it's a loyal fan base.
Oh, no, this fan base is loyal. It's no joke. It's funny because I went and saw, this is a whole different level. But when I saw my first monster truck rally, I found myself getting into it. I was like one of the few black people there. I had the best time. You're right. There's something about it being there. Because let me backtrack for a second. I'm a huge NFL fan. I'm a football fan. That's the one sport that I know. I'm in Los Angeles. I don't follow any baseball or any basketball. I get made fun of all the time. Yes, I live in Inglewood. I don't follow the Lakers or the Clippers. I don't watch any stuff. But I'm a football fan. I love going to football games. I keep telling people what you just told me. I said, when you go to a football game in a big stadium and you're sitting with other fans in person, there's nothing. You're all one. You're all one. Right. And you're like there to see your team kill this other team or whatever. It's like it's just there's something. You're right. There's something about being. I miss live events anyway. Now you get me started. I miss live events personally. Anyway. I miss concerts and stage. And I miss live events. But I think I see what you're saying. It's similar to that. Going to the monster truck rally. I went to a hockey game once and had a great time. Like it's being live. There's something about that.
I've been to a monster truck rally once, and as a kid, and like you just see big cars crushing stuff, and it's fun. Even I'd say as a 20-something, I remember something I didn't think I would enjoy, and I kind of was on the fence about it while I was there. But when you see how hard they were going, I was like, oh, okay, and that's roller derby. I went to a roller derby competition, and I didn't know anything about it. I was like, why? Why did you bring me here? I was like, what is this? But you saw how it was like hockey almost, like the way they were hitting and stuff like that. I was like, wow, this is really aggressive. So like I would do it again.
I'm a huge skater. So when I was a kid, I was a skater. I grew up in the 70s. Yeah, I had my tennis shoe skates with big stoppers, and I was a disco skater, speed skater, backward skater. I did the whole thing. So roller derby was and that was big then too. And I know it's back again also. I almost joined a roller derby league here in Torrance. They wanted me to join, and I was like, I'm a little too old and out of shape.
I don't know how to skate at all.
You don't have to skate at all? Not even like rollerblading or anything?
Nothing. I will bust my ass. There's no chance that I'm balancing on that.
Okay. That's like crazy. Tammy said, hi, Adrian. And hello, Kirsten. Hello, everybody who's in the chat room. I need to go to a wrestling match now. It's my post-pandemic to do this. Let's go together, Tammy. We'll go with Cedric. We'll all go together.
Let's do it.
We'll get Flobo and everybody. We'll all go together. And
literally, I live in Ontario, right next to the. It used to be called the Business Bank Arena. Now it's called the Toyota Arena. They have wrestling events there a few times out the year. So I just leave my apartment. I walk and go to the wrestling show by myself. They're like $20 to get a ticket, and it's like you see the live shows that they air on TV. So it's fun. It's great.
Okay, I'll come to Ontario. I had a sister that on Cucamonga. I know the Ontario Mills Mall and all that. I must go out there all the time. Let's go out to the outlets and everything. No story.
I avoid those outlets. I go to Gardens. I go to Victoria Gardens.
I know Gardens also. Yeah, I know. I find that hilarious. You spend a lot of money. But no, I mean, I seriously, I will go to one. Everybody heard it first. I would go to one live. I've never been to one live. So I mean, if it's like that cheap and go to it, and you can drink, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I'm good.
They serve alcohol, they serve beer. It's just like going to an actual sports event. They do all the same stuff.
So is wrestling to you a sport?
You put me on the spot.
Tell your opinion, Cedric. Cedric's the answer. Tell the opinion.
Not my opinion. Yes, because what they're doing is really hard. And when you look at I'll call it the sport of wrestling. When you look at the sport of wrestling, they don't have an off season. They're a traveling show that do this year round. Every other sport has an off season where these guys can rest, recuperate. No, these guys are year round. They are training. They're entertaining you year round. And these guys get hurt. They actually get hurt. They go through injuries. They go through recovery periods. No, it's absolutely a sport.
That's what I figured.
Is it? And the difference with like people who don't think it's a sport is like, but it's scripted. So are your movies. Your movies are scripted too. And you have stuntmen and stuff like that. Or you have some people that do their own stunts. I get that, but yeah.
Well, then what do you say to people who say it's fake? What's your answer to that?
If somebody tells me it's fake, I'll show them. I mean, if I care enough, if it's a really heated debate, I'll show them an encounter where it wasn't fake, where somebody really got cut, because there's parts in business where you had to actually blade your face or something like that to have real blood. So there's a lot of real parts of the business that people don't know about. There's good documentaries out now that actually expose all that type of stuff. Dark Side of the Ring was really huge last year. That covers a lot of those parts of the business they try to keep under wraps. They don't like to talk about, but wrestling is absolutely real. If people don't believe wrestling's real, it's like, well, go to a trampoline house and jump around for like a couple hours and see how your body feels after that.
Ooh, I know, right? Oh, I know. Tammy, just like soaps, year round. Yes, we are year round. Soaps, and don't take a day off either. We are year round. I work in that space. So growing up, you weren't into writing and journalism. That was not what you were doing when you were growing up. It all came later.
I didn't, like I said, my favorite subject was always English.
Yeah.
I would say middle school, high school. I wasn't writing for the school paper. I was the jock. I wasn't on the school paper. I wasn't on the debate team or anything like that. So I didn't find a funnel into what I wanted to do like until I was actually in college. It wasn't about until I'd say my sophomore, junior year, I was like, oh, well, I want to write. I want to write for the paper. I want to be on radio. I want to do this. So it's like, it was always in me. I just didn't know how to, I guess, make a career out of it. So yeah, I had a lot of other stuff I used to do in middle school, high school. I was a jock. I was in band, did a bunch of stuff.
So were you a nerd? Or no?
What kind of nerd? What kind of nerd? Like comic book?
Because okay, so back in the day, nerds that was not a badge of honor. Like being a nerd was like this little group that you were, and it wasn't a badge of honor. Now it's become this thing where I'm a nerd. Like I wasn't a nerd. I was smart, but I didn't care about being smart. I was one of those kind of kids. I was very popular, but I didn't care about being popular either. So I was wondering for you, if you were a jock, but you liked English, you were smart. Were you just a guy? Were you just a jock who liked English, or were you a school nerd, or were you a book nerd, or were you? I mean, like,
I would say book smart and studious. Like I always got my work done, always got good grades, and then I was a jock. I wouldn't say I was a popular kid or anything like that. I had the people I hung out with, maybe popular by association with certain people, but not definitely not in the scene. Didn't want to be, not like that. Very mellow into myself, but it's like I was really good in the classroom. Then I played sports.
All right, makes sense. Who are you now? What kind of person are you now these days?
In what arena? In what arena?
In life. No, wait. Like who is Cedric these days in general? Who is Cedric?
Ooh, that's a good question because it definitely changed post-pandemic.
I'm sure. A lot for all of us, right?
Right now, Cedric is just a guy that just works all the time and doesn't play and takes care of his family. So there's very little fun that I have, and I work out. I'm a big fitness nut. So, but I would say I'm a self-motivated, highly competitive person who is relentless at achieving what my goals are for myself, whether that be in fitness. I try to stay on task. I have a routine, whether that be the writing, the journalism. Is like I have somewhere I want to go, and I'm willing to sacrifice mostly anything to get to this place because I feel like that's what God called me to do. So it's like, and I got that epiphany like 3 or 4 years ago. It's like, this is what I'm supposed to do, and you're good at it. Why am I waiting? So it's like now I focus so much of my time into doing stuff, into creating content and finding other avenues that can help advance me. So I would say that's who I am right now. It's just super career focused.
Well, you're a nice guy too. I said I saw that on one of the interviews. I was like, he's a nice guy. He's out there just trying to take care of business. And I think you mentioned your family, so you're very close to your family.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Are you the oldest brother?
Yeah. I'm the oldest. Me and my sister are 9 years apart.
Oh, dang. Well, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
So you were kind of raised, but you told me, 9 years is big because that means you were kind of raised on your own for a while until she came. You were already almost 9-10 years old. I mean,
yeah,
that's a big difference.
Big difference. She was born in 96, so
yeah,
things were different. I got to be the only child and see what that felt like. Yeah. Then by the time I was a teenager, that was over.
That's so funny. And is she doing hosting stuff still, or what's she doing? Anything in the business?
So, I get to plug my sister. Let's do that. So she actually had...
Please, I love that. Please.
Yeah, she has her own website, nigabwelton.com, and she actually has her own candle business now. She's an aspiring food blogger. So she's going to start doing more blogging, trying new restaurants out in Southern California and writing blogs about them on her website. After AfterBuzz, she's kind of taken a step back from the hard hosting and is just wanting to write and really pursue entrepreneurship. So she's pushing her candle business.
Yes, I love candles. So what's her website again?
nigabwelton.com.
And how do you spell her first name?
Nadja. Okay. Let me make sure I gave you the right website.
Yeah, because I'm a candle freak, and so one of the actors of my show says the candle business too, Perfume Profanities. Okay. I went and bought her candle. It was really good. It was called Shit Show Sugar Cookie, and it was really good. So I should support especially young Black folks doing some work out
Absolutely.
there. So make sure it's the right website, because I'll post it in there. I'll make sure it's right. I'm gonna go visit it.
Yes, that's what it is. NADJA, the letter B, WELTON.com.
Okay, I'll put it in there because we want to. I'll try one of her candles and post it, of course. Cedric, thanks for being on the show. You're a great guy. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I hope I was a good guest.
I
hope I answered everybody's questions.
Well, actually, there's one more question. Are you two siblings competitive? Because you're in this kind of similar businesses.
Wait, so am I who?
Are you guys competitive?
Me and my sister. No, I can never do that.
See?
No, I give her everything if I can. Like, you have it. No, I don't take anything from my sister.
See? There you go, kids. There you go. All right. Tell me where they can find you. I know you're at Sid at the answer. Tell me where they can find all of your other goodness.
Yeah, you can find me, Said His Answer, Instagram, Said Says on Twitter, that's CEDD_SAYS. I have my link trees on both social media. You can also find me on Daily DDT, where I do my writing, the Bleav in NXT podcast. Name change soon to happen, and I'll be posting that stuff because we'll be doing a new podcast soon. Also, check out my website. You can see all my old reporting clips when I was a sports anchor reporter. All my other writing clips are on CedricDWelton.com.
Okay, see? Okay, I love it.
I work a little bit everywhere.
Yeah, he's everywhere. That's why I like that. It's a man from my own heart. I mean, just blanket everything, as I say. But I'll post it in the link below, of course.
Thank you.
Everyone in chat room, thanks for watching and asking questions and being here on this Monday night, March 1st. It's already March, people. I don't even understand how that happened. I don't know what happened in February. I mean, I know I was alive and I did something, but it's gone. Now we're in March.
All we had was like, what we have? We had insurrection, election, Black History Month,
right?
March.
March. That's it. That's it, everybody.
Right
Done. It happens so fast. So weird. Fast. You can follow me where all James Lott Jr. is sold at James Lott Jr. and all social media platforms. Yes, I've been saying that for the last 7 years of my life. You can also follow me on TikTok, folks. Yes, I'm on TikTok. They're watching this old man talk stuff. I don't know why, but they're following me there. I always have some fun stuff on there going on. This is my online network, people. This is my network, JLJ Media. Like, subscribe, comment. The audio podcast version of this will be available on every streaming service you can think of, from iHeartRadio to Spotify, Google, Apple, and everything in between. So while you're there, subscribe, share this with anybody. If you want to be a guest on the show and connect with me, just message me. Let me know what's going on. I'll see if we can work something out. Of course, I want to connect with people and places and things, and just kind of continue to do that, because we're all connected somehow, whether you know it or not. Whatever he does, it affects you. Whatever I do affects him, and all that in between. So then, you guys, thank you in the chat room again. Everyone, please stay safe,